What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tinted with Jaleel, and today we're working on a CLA 250. So let's go. Welcome back, guys. Alright, so we're gonna start with prepping our windows, and I want to clean the back glass and the rear door glasses because we are gonna have to heat shrink these windows. So we're going to heat shrink it from the outside, and the reason we're heat shrinking it is because we're not removing the rubber here. We're going to push and install, same process as a Tesla, and it just saves time. So the heat shrink will help eliminate any fingers going into the seal. So we're gonna do that. So I like to prep my glass first. I'm gonna clean off the exterior, and then I'm going to wax it with soap and let it air dry. So when I go to cut my patterns, by the time I come back, it's all ready to go. And this one is going to be a very tight squeeze. These headrests don't go down, but I'm going to come back to that when I get there, and I'll show you what the solution is to getting a flawless tint job without doing anything too crazy. So we're gonna cut the film. We're gonna cut the film out, and I'll meet you guys back here in a sec. Alright guys, welcome back. So I just set everything up here. I've got the back windshield set up here and the doors. I will show you how to heat shrink the doors first. I've double stacked my tint because it just saves time rather than doing it on all four doors. You can just double stack them like this, and you can heat shrink them both sides in one shot. And this too, you don't really need to heat shrink it. I just like to do it as a precautionary measure. I don't like to take any kind of risks. I'd rather just be safe, do it the proper way, and make sure the customer doesn't have any issues, just to avoid any kind of problems and delays. So I like to heat shrink everything, but you don't have to. You can get away with doing it without doing it. And these doors are generally really easy. It's a quick job. Just want to make sure it's clean, do a good prep. No fingers. So now the back windshield. A lot of people like to do an H pattern, so they'll go across and then they'll go up and down like this. I feel like the H pattern is a good method for beginners, but see this finger here, how much pressure it has, it kind of limits you to how much you can heat shrink when you get to the edge. I like when it's open, that way you can kind of move the finger around. I'll show you what I mean when I start heat shrinking it. So I'll do the top left corner and I'll go across. Heat shrink is not hard. You just need to be patient, and you need to be able to read the film. You can tell when the film is about to burn. That's obviously too much heat, but if it does start burning, it'll start burning along the edge over here. So you just want to keep your heat gun moving. I have my heat gun always set to the highest setting. I just like the heat on full setting. That way I can control the heat. If I want more heat, I can go close. If I want less, I can pull my hand away. And I'll just work across. And this window to heat shrink is not difficult by any means. Anyone, even beginners, would be able to comfortably heat shrink this if you use the right technique. So you want to heat shrink, and you want to kind of watch those fingers melt into almost like waves. You see like the waves going like that. And you only want to use your card to push down the heated portions only. So I'll give it a little bit more heat. I'll watch that finger melt down, and I'll go all the way across, and I'll reapply heat, and I'll use my card and work it down. And my Teflon tape is coming off. This tape here helps the card glide on the tint without scratching it. It's just like a Teflon tape. You have to replace it as you use it, but I would highly recommend using Teflon tape. It definitely helps with the tool gliding over the tint. If you don't have one, that's fine. It's not a big deal. You don't necessarily need to use a hard card. You can pretty much use anything to shrink back windshields, or shrink in general. So that's half the window done. And again, just take your time and you work it slowly. And again, I'm only pushing with my hard card the areas that have heat shrunk. So I'm only going up until here. I'm not going to keep going down because it's going to crease. And you can see where the plotter cut through here. So I have to be careful over there. Just work the fingers and let it melt. Just take your time. Give it a good amount of heat and keep your hand moving. So because the plotter cut through, where is it? Over here. I'm going to go on a slight angle. And that's where it cut through. I'm going to give it some heat. Not so much, but just a tiny bit, just so I can get these fingers down. That's done there. Okay, last corner. Same idea, same concept, just put it on repeat. Keep your hand moving. Work the fingers up. I have to replace this Teflon tape afterwards. Work it up, heat, push, heat, push. And you want to be super careful at the very corner, the edge of the film. That's where the tint would burn if it does start burning. So just take your time with it. Nice gradual heat. And there you go. All done. So we've got our doors and back windshield, so we're going to move on to install now. Alright. Now, we're going to remove this brake light cover here to get access to the full back windshield, because I've cut the pattern where it has a continuation going across and I can't tuck it in. To remove these, it's very easy. You just take a little pick and this little tab will pop out, and it's the same on the other side. Use your hand to support it and stick your pick in there and gently just pull out the tab, and the cover should just pull out like that. And then there's a little connector here which disconnects just like that, and then I'll take the connector and I'll just tuck that under the headliner so it's out of the way. Okay. Now your next step is to cover as much as you can over here. It's to just to protect the back dash. Now you spray it down. I know you can probably drop the seats down, but it's, me personally, I feel like it's more difficult to get in and out of the car and then shovel your feet inside the trunk, and it becomes a whole, you know, like an acrobatics. So I like to do it this way. You just have to be careful when you're feeding it through, and there's a better way, so I'll show you that. So we're gonna clean the window and get it prepped. Again, this is a fairly new car. You don't need to go do a deep clean. It's a 2019. I saw the interior condition. It's really clean. So this customer takes care of their vehicle, regular vacuums and all that stuff. So you have to take in consideration how the customer takes care of their car, and that'll give you an idea of how clean they keep their car. And it's a good way to gauge how much you need to prep a window and clean it, because most times if you use excessive water on a really clean car, it's just overkill. It makes things wet and messy, and you don't really need that. So I always look at how the customer is taking care of their vehicle, and it allows me to gauge, okay, I need to clean it more or less. Unless if it's a smoker, then you can tell when there's a smoker in the vehicle, because it just stinks. And then smoke always leaves like this kind of soot on the window, and you can't see it to the clear eye unless you go to clean it and you wipe it with a rag, and it's all yellow and disgusting. So that is a thing, and then at that point your window could get contaminated. So that's another little thing to think about when you go to clean windows if it's a smoker's vehicle. Alright, so now we have our window clean. I'm gonna spray it down, not too much. You're gonna grab your window. I like to put my windows upside down, and I'll show you why. You peel the liner off, give it a spray. So the reason I put my windows down on sedan is that way I can grab, because this is the top and this is the bottom. So I'll grab my window from here and I can rest it on my hand pretty effortlessly. Let gravity do the work. So that's a little trick I do, and it varies with different vehicles. There's different ways you can put it. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to guide it over the headrest, and what I'm doing is I'm just pushing gently on the glass with the tint, and I'm letting it glide. It's touching the headrests, but it's not the live side, meaning the glue side, and I'm just letting it glide, just making sure my bottom is flat because I have limited access. Just line up your tint, just work it slowly, just work it down, and then just finish lining it up. It's pretty good there. Alright, look for any light gaps. No light gaps there, no light gaps there. Great. Now I'm gonna work these bigger bubbles out, just because when I go to squeegee, these bubbles are gonna be going all over the place, and I don't want it to push into a section that I've already squeegeed. Then it's gonna create dry lines. 1 second here. Okay, sorry, I just had to check something. Alright, give it a light mist. Take my Blue Max, give it a wipe, because if this has any rocks or anything on the edge of the blade and I put it on the tint and I go to drag it, it's gonna leave a nice little scratch, and I know that because it's happened to me. So as a precautionary measure, I always wipe the edge of my blade just to make sure. Now I'll check once more. I'll make sure my tint is lined up and in position where I want it to sit forever. Now I'm gonna squeegee the middle out first, just to get it to tack and hold. I'm using mild to moderate pressure, and my second pass I'm going full pressure. Now it doesn't matter where you start, on the left side or right side. I'm right-handed, so by default I'll just start squeegeeing the left side. Okay, now once I do the left side, I'll get my top edge. Switch hands. Again, start from the middle and work across. Start from the middle, work across. And then I'll do my top edge. And then another final pass. Okay. Now, for the bottom section, I've got a bulldozer, and again I will wipe my tool, start from the middle, work my way down, and then across. There's no right or wrong method to do the bottom edge. It's honestly just get the water out. I like to push all the water and moisture off to the side. And I'll do one final pass. Perfect. Now I will take my clean rag and I'll just give the window a quick wipe down, just because I want to see if I've missed any spots. Double check for fingers. Looks pretty damn good. I'll take my paper tool, and you want to paper your edges, because while there doesn't seem like there's any water around the edges, there's actually quite a bit. So you want to press down all the moisture, the residual, the leftover moisture that's stuck in between these dot matrices, because when the window when the tint fully cures, it's gonna leave a white dry mark which is kind of like an eyesore, and it can also allow fingers to pop back. So you just want to eliminate that as much as possible. Okay, once you're happy with that, you're gonna grab your brake light and brake light cover. Give this a wipe down. You're gonna get the wire and plug it back in, just like that. Just take a look at where these clips are. So it goes back here and it pops right out of the headliner, just like that. 1, 2. Give it a wiggle test. Make sure that's good. Wipe the dash. And now we're gonna go on the outside and take a quick peep, see how we did. There's no leftover moisture, there's no water, there's no dirt, there's no creases, there's no bubbles. Flawless job. There you have it. So now we're gonna do the doors. We're gonna trick our door, and to do that you just grab a pick and you put it in the latch over here so it tricks it. So you put it in here and the door will shut. So the car thinks the door is shut and it rolls the window up slightly, so you have full access. I was just reviewing the footage of the back windshield and it's absolutely terrible, so I will have to go over that again with you guys, and I do apologize for that. I am trying out my new head mount and I didn't realize the angle is completely wrong. Okay, now you're gonna get this edge in here. Again, you don't need a deep clean, just a quick razor blade. Gonna do your top edge, make sure it's super clean. Be careful going in here, you don't want to cut the rubber, so just leave a slight gap when you're doing it over here. Okay, give it a spray. Grab your clean rag, you're gonna hit the top edge. Okay, and then get your squeegee, you're gonna get inside the liner there, not liner, the rubber, and push your water out. Give the edge a wipe. You're gonna apply a little bit of pressure, pushing away on the glass, just so the water can go inside the rubber channel, so when you go to put your window on, it slides perfectly without any problems, and the heat shrink should help with that. This is our passenger side window. Peel off the liner, give it a quick spray. I'm grabbing it with my nail. I'm not grabbing it using my fingertips because I don't want to put any dirt in it. And then I'm going to start with the left side. I'm just going to let my right hand hold the tint, and I'm going to push on the glass while I'm pushing down like that. And what helps is a tool like this, just to make sure your window is sitting past that rubber. So you just separate the gasket and you push your window in, and then you line it up. Do the same for the front as well. There you go. Now it's perfect. Make sure your lineup is head on. You don't want to go over the edge because it'll start peeling. And I don't like this big air pocket over here, so I'm going to start over here, make sure that's sealed, push that air pocket out. Actually, you can do it with your hand and then with your tool to make sure the tint is sitting flat. Give it a quick spray, and you do your top edge. Mild pressure, hold the tint, mild pressure, and you just work your way down. And then you do another pass, firm pressure, and then you want to revisit the rubbers over here. Make sure there's no leftover water in here. Wipe down. Last but not least, you're left with, you want to paper your edges, because to me that's the most important part. You could have a really good squeegee, but it could just be like a little bit of water at the edge, and that's all it takes to ruin a perfect tint job, because that water is gonna dry and it's gonna leave potential for peeling, bubbling, lifting. So you could be a really good installer, but if you don't seal your edges, then you're just asking for trouble. So with the edges sealed, I'm gonna just give the panel a quick wipe down and the window a wipe down. And then I'll give it a spray and clean. I'll double check everything, make sure everything's seated, there's no fingers, no dirt, no contamination. Once I'm happy, I'm gonna grab my torch, our good friend here. Take it off lock. And you wanna make sure you heat up the bottom edge over here and all around the sides. The purpose for the torch and heat is to seal the edges of the tint. I'm not trying to remove any moisture from the middle, but more so the moisture from the edges, especially this vehicle being a frameless window style. This is going to constantly rub up and down on the rubber as soon as this car goes out this shop. So we want to make sure it's completely sealed. Once you're happy there, get onto the back. Alright, so I'm gonna tackle my little quarter window here first. Give it a quick spray. And then I'm gonna grab my scrubby. So give it a nice scrub. And you want to make sure you go over any kind of textured writing surfaces, because that's where dirt is more likely to get trapped. You take your rag, clean the edges, and pass your hand where the rubber is. And you use your quarter tool, get rid of the water there. And we're just gonna rinse it and go grab our quarter window. So this is the one that we need here. Again, grab with your nail, support with your hand. You want to feed the tint in at the bottom first, and then you want to seat the rest of the tint in. You want to use your I don't know what this is called, shank, and just separate the rubber so the tint sits nicely. Once you're happy with the lineup, right there is good. Remove your shank, and while holding the tint, just give it a light pass. And as soon as you pass over any kind of writing like this, it will help the tint stick, and then you can apply a little bit more firm pressure and just finish off the rest of your window. I'm going to use my triangle just to seal the bottom here. I'm going to work it up. Just going to dry it so it has enough time to dry. By the time I'm done doing this car, I can seal it after. Let's lock this window, trick it, and take your you can take a pick or even a screwdriver and just pushing the latch, and you'll see that go up. See that? There. Now the window's latched. Okay. Give it a light mist. Grab your scrubby. Same process, same method. Scrub, make sure you scrub your top edge and the writing textured surfaces. These cars are very, very easy in general. Vehicles that are frameless doors, you can get away with not heat shrinking them. If you want to bottom load it, some guys out there still remove door panels. That's just a you thing, just to completely ensure there's no issues, but I don't think that's necessary all the time. It's all just personal preference. I tend not to remove door panels if it's like a frameless door, because you have access all around. You can heat shrink it and you can push on the glass to let it slide past the rubber, but everyone has their own style, so as long as the job comes out clean, it's all that matters. There's no true right or wrong way, so long as your jobs come out clean and they're done in a acceptable manner. A car like this shouldn't take more than an hour for any professional to do comfortably. That's not like an hour of pressure. Okay, so I'm pushing on the glass. As I do that, I'm guiding it down, and I'm also pushing it this way. So I'm pushing in, down, and also this way, because I have to clear this rubber right here. I'll just check the edge. I feel like I can go in a little further, so I'm gonna grab my shank, wipe, peel back that rubber, and just aid the tint inside gently. And I'll just check with my finger. I'm pulling my finger back in this way just to make sure there's no tint hanging over the edge of the glass. So once I'm happy with the fitment there, I'll give it a light spray. Take my triangle tool, work in, get rid of those bigger bubbles. And I'll take my squeegee, holding the tint, and I'll squeegee out. If you find while you're installing or squeegeeing your window, your film is moving around too much, like after you've set it onto the glass, it's sliding down, that means you have too much film solution or soap, whichever one you prefer using. And vice versa, if you put it on your glass and it's almost stuck instantly, then that means you do not have enough slip solution in there. So it all depends on what kind of bottle you use and how much film solution that you're using. So work out the math behind how much you need, how much slip you need to ensure the perfect combination of just enough stick and not too much slide. And then kind of maybe note it down or work out a measurement that's accurate every time, so you're not just guessing. You have a proper measurement you can go by, and that'll save you a lot of time when doing installs, because then you're not in the middle of a job and then you find out, oh, I have too much slip solution or my window's sticking. It just creates more issues while you're on the job. So see what works for you. Grab your paper tool. That means, see this, how this peeled back? That means I'm a little close to the edge, so I can simply just peel that back. I'm just gonna squeegee that out, and it's not a big deal. It's right at the top. I can trim it. I don't have a file, so I'm going to use my knife. You just want to take a little bit of that off. Oh, it still peels. What that means is I can go a little further in towards the left side, towards the right side next time. Grab your knife, see where it's actually peeling from. Okay. Okay, I think that will go away with heat, that corner. I'm gonna spray, squeegee it off, and see how it turned out. Now we're gonna heat seal. Turn the heat down for the smaller quarter edges, the quarter window. And bump it up to this window. Remember, you're just heating up the edges enough so you can press down any peeling surfaces, like this corner here. And I hit that. Not too much heat. You're always checking the heat with your hand. Make sure the window does not get too hot. I'm going to go back to this corner over here, and you can see where it's starting to lift. You just take your squeegee or your triangle or your hard card, and you'll just want to press it down. That's it. Alright, that's how you do it. And then once you're done doing the rest of the car, you can come back around, unlatch these windows, close the doors, give it a nice final clean, and double check, triple check your work. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.